This is Kim. His last name is Taein, and he went back in time. He had nothing in this world, he didn't have any ability like all the other people. But at one point when he was killed by an SSS rank monster in the abyss, a god appeared to him. It regressed him, and now he has a predator ability that allows him to absorb other people's skills and appropriate them for himself. He now intends to change the past that wormed him and correct any mistakes he made there, and also to become stronger thanks to his new ability. The assassin lunges at our hero Kim, but he blocks the blow by creating a stone shell around his neck. He calls him a jerk and counterattacks. The one, recoiling, says he didn't know about his abilities. The hero is angry because he's a f***ing villain and murderer. How did he know that? He knew it in the past. He looks at him and says this is exactly what he wanted. Their encounters. Their fight is handled quite skillfully. The hero blocks the villain's lunges. He counterattacks, but the villain takes matters into his own hands, saying that even though blades don't solve everything, he still doesn't stand a chance, because every ability has a weakness. He quickly disappears, using his stealth skill. The hero turns around and thanks the one behind him, saying he's not taken in by those skills. He strikes and misses, whereupon the assassin appears behind him. He quickly stabs his arm, piercing through the stone defense. The hero is surprised. He sees the blood. He thought his stone defense would save him. Afterward, the assassin shouts out a phrase about how he has killed many like him. Fools thought their skills were invincible, but in the end, after realizing their weakness, they were lost and died. He asks him to realize something before he dies. Shouting out that all skills have a weakness, he creates a cross kick, cleaving the hero with his strongest lunge. The hero rises up all bloody. He says he didn't even realize this weakness of the stone skin. The unbearable shock breaks the stone, and the shattered part engages the stone with noticeably reduced strength. This is what he's been after all along, f***ing assassin. The hero stands before him, glaring at him and his stealth skill, which is deactivated. But the hero is now confident that he can withstand a one-on-one fight against AB rank. The hero says he should be done with the test he started at the beginning of the fight already. The killer makes a dash at him. He won't tolerate being treated this way and is going to kill him. The hero explains that doesn't he understand why the hero wanted to meet him. The hero uses his predator skill, getting covered in red energy and pointing his hand at the villain. The villain is surprised by the ravenous mana. He realizes that the idiot had been hiding it all along. He uses the skill and quickly jumps on the hero, strutting around in different directions. He yells that does he really think he can hit with his skill without being seen. But the hero explains that his skill works like an aiming spell. The villain looks at how he is about to be stroked by the predator right now. His face is filled with fear, and the hero's left red eye activates. He looks at it and says that the predator will get him no matter what. The battle between the hero and the villain is over, and we are transported in events back to the battle of that very same hero. He was unable to defeat the creature. It attacks him again, and he is ready to accept his death. But then it disappears, because our hero has saved it. He saved him using his new stolen stealth skill. Kim brings his little brother home. His parents have been very concerned all this time about where the two of them have been missing. But they both guffaw, saying that they were only running late and no monster ate them. Meanwhile, Kim is watching the news on her phone. It tells us that in accordance with the government statements, all schools have suspended operations and guards have been assigned to them. We also see the events at the hospital where the A-rank hero is still being questioned. However, the news says that since Ogre the Giant's corpse has not been found and the identity of the villain who attacked people is not known for certain, people are concerned that the security measures may not seem sufficient. The hero looks at this news and is pleased that not a single word has been said about him. He stands near the abandoned tunnel and says that it is apparently time to begin the next step in realizing his goals. Meanwhile, we see Kim's current stats. His age is 19 years old. His rank is D, strength and speed are 15, and stamina is 20. Mana is 40, and fatigue is 5%. He has 40% magic left. Also from skills, he has D rank stone skin and D rank stealth. He now has 3 skills. Getting stealth has been particularly successful, but at his current level it's quite difficult to use all 3 skills at once, because foolish use will use up all his mana and also increase his fatigue level. The best solution for him would be to use a potion. Potions are elixirs created for different purposes, such as mana recovery or fatigue. But they are quite expensive, so he should make some money. But since hunting without permission is considered forbidden, he should just mop up unexplored dungeons. He comes to the dungeon and sees that there are Mongels of rank. They attack him, saying that they will have a feast. The hero says that even after killing 100 of them, he won't be able to increase his rank. They use their skills on him, but he absorbs them using his predator. The system reports that thanks to his predator, he has resistance. Barang's monster is just shocked by his skill, and he starts just destroying them. The author doesn't even show us this very, very scary battle. The system tells us that the hero succeeded in the hunt and that his new skill, paralysis, has been registered. At this time, we are taken to the South Korean Players Association conference. The doors to it are very heavily locked and there are guards posted. We see a girl with purple short hair just sipping coffee sitting next to some strange man. The deputy manager of the new Players Association is also with them. In this universe, a player is an awakened person who is allowed to use their skills for various amateurish purposes, such as exploring the abyss, mopping up a dungeon, and so on. There are a total of 5 centers of such players in South Korea right now. The largest Korean guilds are the 4 great guilds. The first are the Fighters of the Unreal, the second are the Masters of Alchemy, the third are the Mages and Wizards, and the fourth are the Informers, the Night Wanderers, and an empowered agency governing the players, including the 4 great guilds. The new Player Association of South Korea, and now in front of the deputy manager is the head of the Night Vagabonds Guild and a ranked player, and also the chairman of the new South Korean Players Association and ranked player Ji Jinka asks Ion if she has learned anything about the Villains Guild. And she begins to tell what this criminal organization founded by the most badasses even among the villains, the members of this guild wear gold rings with 3 skulls. She hands over a list of their movements, as well as a list of the players they are targeting. But she's sure that's not why he called her in. He starts laughing. He says he wants her opinion. He asks when Ion took the Players Association test. And she says when she was 19. He, sitting back with a smile, says how does she think a high school student can fight a monster on equal footing? And we are transported to the main character who has defeated all the spiders that attacked him. He makes a phone call and asks if this is one of the 4 great alchemist guilds. He says he wants to buy some potions while holding a bunch of magic crystals. The 7 days of school closings and Zavret finally came to an end. All this time, the hero Kim had been training his stats. He had been mopping up dungeons and training other stats. He also went to the Alchemist's Guild where he successfully traded his crystals for potions. Now his stats are as follows: strength is 35, speed is 31, and stamina is 32. He has also reached rank C on all skills. Despite this, he thinks about the fact that he still has a long way to go. This is all he ponders as he sits in school. His job now is to study. His classmates are quietly discussing the rumors about him, that he single-handedly wiped out BHU's henchmen. They think that no matter what happens, he's in big trouble. Suddenly, 3 hooligans walk into the classroom. The hero immediately pays attention to them, and on the way they smash everything, showing how tough and strong they are. Someone yells out that Lee Young-jae won't leave it like that. The head crouches right in front of the hero, accompanied by his 2 henchmen. There's a huge red aura emanating from that person that even the hero was able to feel. That guy, the awakened, S-rank, Lee Young-jae. Lee John-jae is the leader of the TCN middle school gang, a 3rd-generation Sabalto and San group, the big corporation that sponsors TCN High School, and the one who beat up our hero along with his friends. He's the main culprit who sicked the hero on B, Hexa, just because he still hasn't awakened. The hero asks if he has become a friend to him and starts laughing. The hero starts giving him an intimidating look, telling him to stop talking shit and get the hell out of here. Seizure doesn't immediately start opening his mouth, but is immediately punched in the face by his ringleader. The man says can't he see he's busy having a conversation. He starts to say that apparently Kim has gotten very cocky about his victory. He uses his fire ability, severely overwhelming the hero. He asks if it isn't necessary to taunt your opponent by saying it to his face. He is surprised, and now he looks at the S-rank magic power for the first time. It's off the charts, and he's getting ready to use the Predator to worship his skills. But then a girl with blue hair walks into the classroom. An aura of ice emanates from her, and she freezes his henchman's hand. It's Lim Dong. She asks Kim to end up like that villain too. The hero explains to us that Lim Hyun is the perfect girl. She's a senior, rich, Yu Ion's half-sister, an awakened ESQ classmate. She's a model student and the most promising. She's a future SS-ranked player. She has so many nicknames and will have even more names, but when in trouble, she will never back down. Lim and the bully collide with glances. The fiery kid says it's just a conversation between friends. He asks her not to come to hell. Does it with such a threatening face, like he's ready to kill her. But she responds by making an even colder face, looking him straight in the soul and telling him that if he doesn't leave on his own, she'll help him. The hero looks at this confrontation between the 2 strongest auras of the C class and thinks about the fact that if they continue, the class is in danger of being defeated. Fire Guy is about to leave, saying she must have taken it, but suddenly turns around, creating a fireball and saying did she really think about him retreating like that? Suddenly there is a zing sound. The broadcasting department begins to speak into the loudspeaker saying that the Players Association will hold a special lecture in the main hall, and all students should attend. From now on, The Players Association will even accept students. Hearing all this, our wind-up boy wonders if this is the real Players Association. Afterwards, he cools his ardor and says that this time they were just lucky, and now he definitely intends to leave. He slams the door, and the heroine turns to ask how Kim is doing, but he's already disappeared without a trace. He turns around, already near the door, and says, "Didn't she hear the announcement of the gathering in the main hall? Then I'll go first." The girl wonders. She doesn't recognize Kim and wonders if he has always been like this. The events are moved to the location of the hall. All the students discuss and ask each other what this Players Association lecture is going to be about, and they think it's about the gate breach. Finally, the deputy greets the students of this institution. He says that there are 2 reasons why they have gathered them. One is for the lack of response to the gate breach, the apology, and the Hero Association safety training. And the other reason is for those who are responsible for the future of South Korea. The changes to the players' exam are hereby informed. The fire guy remembers Kim and thinks about what an asshole he is, and the heroine with the very beautiful hair thinks about who he is and why he has such undetectable powers. Our hero, meanwhile, is just yawning. The students are wondering what the players' exam has to do with them. Doesn't it only start for those who have turned 19? The deputy says that they must be thinking that it starts at 19, and even though it does, it has everything to do with them. And he is here to make recommendations to those who deserve it. There was an unexpected event recently, a breakthrough in RED due to the dramatic increase in monsters and dungeons. Their association recognizes that they are understaffed. And so, starting this year, they plan to allow even high school students to receive recommendations. The recommendations for each school include aptitude tests, grades, and other crap. They plan to select people based on full numerical data. Kim says that's a lie. He thinks of it as an exam. It's true he may have high school students waiting for him, but the selection itself is already underway. That's this deputy's skill. His name is Gotovuka. He identifies everyone with his ability, the observer's eye. We see how this ability works, and the fact that a number appears above the students, signifying their combat power. The observer's gaze is the ability to quantify the total number of abilities of the one being looked at, and even see the player's status window information when concentrating. To be precise, the numbers here are definitely better than elsewhere. The deputy meanwhile is thinking that these students will make great players, but the most surprising among them are the 2 players, that fire guy and that ice girl. Although he got a list of recommended targets from the Night Wanderers, but such numbers are just a shock to an untrained awakened person. He'll have to write a letter of recommendation once he gets back to the association. He prepares to speak, but is interrupted by a fiery fellow. He asks if he promised to provide a recommendation for the players' exam, and if there are any who are not at all suitable for the position. After all, the players' exam is a test to determine if any of the awakened are eligible to become a player. So he assumes that the unawakened don't need to hear this. At this time, he looks at Kim, clearly implying him. He says that though he is a player, it is not only his power, but also his knowledge of the abyss, potions, and such things. All these complex abilities have to be tested, but the first difficulty is the awakened ones. If they are awakened, it will be listened to, won't they be harmed? He laughs caustically and looks at Kim again. Now the entire crowd turns their eyes on him. He is making this speech clearly with the intention of seeing if Kim is awakened. He thinks to himself that if he is even awakened, then let him prove it sooner rather than later. The ice girl gets turned on again, but he doesn't give her a reaction. Kim scowls at her, saying he didn't even ask for help, and she immediately turns away, saying she doesn't really care. He says he understands what this guy is talking about, but attendance at this lecture is up to those who attend, and asks if Kim is ashamed. He can't get a recommendation anyway, since he's not awakened. He again tries to provoke him into giving away his abilities, saying that if he can't prove he's awakened, he won't even have a chance to take the exam. But he doesn't have to prove it in person to get a recommendation, because the eye sees everything. He turns his gaze to Kim Tion and thinks about the fact that according to the students, although he is not an awakened one whose potential level is unknown, he felt sorry for him, but his thoughts break through. He tries to analyze it with his ability, but it gives an error, saying it's impossible to confirm the information. He looks at it with shock. Kim starts to strike up a conversation with the fire guy, saying he's being obtuse, and the fire guy asks what good it would do him to listen to such information. After all, it would hit his revered pride in vain. So he just decides to walk out, showing his middle finger and asking him to stay and listen to a great lecture. The one immediately begins to get very nervous, clearly wants to hit the hero. But meanwhile the deputy stands in shock. He does not understand why his observer's eye did not work. After all, it worked even on the chairman and heads of player groups. He deflects, and is escorted away with all eyes. Meanwhile, the deputy is thinking about why his ability didn't work on this brat. He tries again, but the information still can't be confirmed. He looks at him in shock and sees God. And for a second, he sees his power, which is twice that of the C rank awakened ones. His power is 5096. Also the one who turns his gaze to him, that is, the deputy, sees the very same god that came before him in the regression. Meanwhile, Kim is at school. He is reading books in the library and muses that he thought about using his free time to look for clues, but 3 bullies came to see him. He says there's no point in staying here anyway. And the bullies say that Janshi is looking for him and asks them to follow, but they ask something to the effect that if he doesn't want to, what will they do to him? They smile and prepare to hit him, but he only smiles at them. The bullies bring up the subject of his parents and the fact that he doesn't have any, and that even though his aunt is having a hard time, does he want to make her life even harder? He asks not to worry. After all, he's going to make him go anyway, and suddenly interrupts his words with our hero with his strongest punch. He just blows him to smithereens, holding him by the throat and choking him. He tells him not to make him ask twice. Where is Lee Jong-shi? Where is he? The gymnasium is bathed in rays of sunshine. Kim walks in to meet the fiery kid. His henchman tries to use his status-reducing ability, but it just doesn't work. This guy is an A rank hunter, and he's Lee's bodyguard, the fire guy. He says that if he has that level of resistance, then Kim is probably an awakened A rank. The fire guy decides to talk to him as friends. He offers it to him and tells him that he was harsh, but he didn't really intend to hurt him. Rather, he was trying to learn more about him. He says that even a genius like him can't do everything alone, and so after he graduates, he will create a guild to succeed the Tayson group. He asks if he knows what he needs staff, not losers like the Hex, but truly talented ones like Kim. Fingers pointed at him, he's clearly trying to belittle him. He starts to snicker with an evil grin and tells Kim to join him and forget about old grudges and he will have it all, fame and fortune, and his family can escape from the Navi source life too. Kim says Lido is all bullshit, interrupting his laughter. He asks if anyone really wants that fame and fortune. He says that one has crossed the line and is creating his stone hand. He sighs. The fire guy says that's right, as the one himself needs to show their true place by creating a fire ability. Guard Kid creates barrier magic, now it surrounds them and it protects the school from damage. They begin the fight. They cross their fists and a huge sphere is created which explodes and Kim is seriously injured. At that time, the fire kid wastes no time and attacks him with his foot, causing massive damage. He, laughing, asks if he still doesn't understand. The guard meanwhile thinks about feeling sorry for him, probably awakened by this, and ranks with a high strength reinforcement skill. With such a level of willpower combat skill, it's hard to believe that he's still a schoolboy. He probably usually can't even find an opponent. But today's battle is a completely different level. He tries to strike, but the fiery kid quickly deflects his attack with a single hand movement and creates an explosion again. Called the fruit of S-rank Kim's talent, he has no chance of winning. He's just asking to learn his lesson, but then Kim blocks Fireboy's punch which was with devastating force and he counterattacks him in the face. The guard is shocked and doesn't understand, did he really throw him away? Meanwhile, the fire kid is in shock. He can't even believe he was able to do that and asks how dare he. The guard realizes that his skill isn't limited by armor. And Kim with a smile on his face is finally happy about it. He says he finally got something mysterious. Kim explains the meaning of his attack. He crossed 3 skills at once, because if he had unleashed them all at once he probably wouldn't have succeeded. Fireboy is very angry, and says that he clearly underestimated him. He shatters a strange magic crystal, becoming covered in energy and preparing to launch a new attack. That concludes part 2 of this story. If you want to see part 3, write the word Angel in the comments. That way I'll know that you've seen this video to the end. And also let's get 500 likes. That's all for now. See you later and bye bye.